Welcome back into the Enrichment Sports Source. We'll try and get through this segment correctly. I had one too many boxes over there, and it confused you, and I didn't even catch it. So I'll take the blame for that one. That was my fault. So you better have my back somewhere down the road. Let's take a look at the Vol defense here.
62, pretty good score.
Versus the BCS opponents on their schedule. All right. It's a very small sample, and Oregon skews things. I mean, imagine if Oregon had played Sal Sunseri's defense. But is it a big worry? Should it be a worry that this year's defense has been statistically worse than last year's defense against BCS-level teams?
Wow.
Had you thought of it that way?
No. Now it's disconcerting that I have.
Worse in scoring, rushing, passing, and total defense.
You're so negative, John, bringing up all these statistics.
Some of them are sort of positive.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to go with the Oregon thing does skew it a little bit.
It does.
Yes.
It absolutely
Who
does.
did you have in there last year?
Yeah.
NC State.
You know.
And they gave up 400 NC State compared to 687.
Yeah.
And 1,000 points.
Well,
for
also
it.
you hadn't played Kentucky or Vanderbilt yet.
Right.
That might help you a little bit.
Yeah.
As far as the numbers.
I don't think that is worrisome.
They're better
at this
on
point.
defense.
I think they
Yeah.
are better on defense.
Yeah.
They are.
A little bit better.
I think
Not greatly
I
better, but a
actually
little bit
think they're
better.
quite a bit better on
Yeah.
defense.
Yeah. I said it was a small sample and Oregon skewed it. Don't paint me as negative.
But the turnovers also have helped you in terms of the defense being better, too.
True.
They've created some last year.
Against the weaker teams.
That's true.
All right, let's take a look at Tennessee's defense by the half. See if you can make hide or hair out of this one. First half, rushing yards per play, they're giving up 4 yards per play. Second half, they're giving up 5.3. So they're worse against the run in the second half. So you could look at that. I initially looked at that and said, you know what, they're wearing down. It's a thin team. But look at the passing yards. First half, they're not as good, and they're better in the second half. Is that because teams have built a lead in the first half and then start running in the second half?
I would think that would be the case with Oregon, wouldn't it?
And I think Florida was probably running the ball more in the second half because of the quarterback situation. Plus, they had a two-touchdown lead. And I think Georgia ran the ball a little bit more in the second half.
Had a 17-3 lead at halftime.
That may mean nothing. It may just be an interesting stat to put up there. I just posted it. So you don't have to come up with something. If you don't see any kind of correlation there.
And South Alabama played better in the second half than they did in the first. So,
but I'm still going to stick with they're getting tired. I still think you don't have a big rotation on defense, and I think you do wear down a little bit.
Okay. All right. We'll let you go there. One more to put up here. This is Vol's defense random, like our entire show today. This is random stats comparing this year to last year. We asked before the season if Tennessee was finally going to wind up with more than 16 sacks because they had 17 last year, 15 2 years ago, which is terrible. There have been teams that in the SEC that have registered more than 32 in a season. Tennessee's had 32 the last 2 seasons, and yet here they are on pace for another 16-sack season. Tackles for loss, they're basically on pace with last year's team. Interceptions, they've almost matched last year's number, but again, as we've said, those 11 interceptions, most of them have come against the Sisters of the Poor that they've taken on. Anything in those stats stand out to you?
Well, the first one there, the sacks. They've already played 3 of their weaker opponents, and if they haven't run up a bunch of sacks against those guys, where are they going to run them up in the second half of the season, playing all SEC teams?
And some of those weaker teams have been having to throw a lot because they're behind. So you're still not getting sacks against them. That is a bit of a concern. Now, you also didn't have Corey Vereen for the first few games. Jock Smith and Majid hadn't played all year. I guess Jock West missed the first couple of games, whatever. But your better pass rushers have not been available. Still, you should have been able to get some more pressure on the quarterback, and some of that goes back to you're not getting some inside pressure and you're not getting as much as you need to out of Daniel McCullers.
But I'm going to go with the interceptions are still a positive. They played the Sisters of the Poor last year and still just had 11.
That's
so I think that shows you that things are going in the right direction as far as the defensive backs are concerned.
But they're going in the wrong direction for the Sisters of the Poor. They need to fire that guy, that coach. All right. When we come back, we're going to play the lightning round. 4 questions about Tennessee football, including, yes, we're going to mention the Bristol thing. Come on back.